Hi, I'm Danielle. Welcome to my perfume journal. In this video, we'll take a look at my perfume tray from last week and reset my tray for the upcoming week. So this is what my tray looked like at the beginning of last week, and this is what my tray looked like at the end of the week. I started the week with 7 perfumes on the tray and ended up with 12. And here is my perfume journal from the last week. I actually wore every single perfume that I placed on my tray, and I thought I might get through the week without repeating a perfume, but I couldn't help but reach for Bois Farine more than once. So now we can clear off the tray from last week and get it set for the upcoming week. So first on the tray is Violet Shot from Olfactive Studio. I've definitely been in the mood for violet lately, and this is one of my favorite violet perfumes ever. The perfumes from Olfactive Studio, they all have this like conceptual thread of photography running through them, and this one is from the Sepia collection. There are several perfumes in that collection. This is in the shot grouping, and all of the perfumes are designed around a single note. So there's a rose shot, an iris shot, there's this one, the violet, there's a leather, a vanilla, and a sheep. And the florals were all done by Dominique Ropion, and the leather, the sheep, and the vanilla were by Bertrand Duchaufour. Now this is a pretty pricey line if you were to buy them retail, but some of these are now on the Gres, and you can definitely find them secondhand. So when it comes to violet, I love the scent of violet in all of its forms. I love green leafy violets, I love rosy lipsticky violets, I love candied Parma violets, and I would class this one, Violet Shot, as a greener, leafier violet with just a hint of powderiness. So the notes in Violet Shot are mandarin orange, grass and pink pepper, saffroline and Egyptian violet absolute, and then patchouli, labdanum, and bourbon vanilla in the base. So I sprayed this on a blotter to get ready to make this video, and oh man, this perfume is so gorgeous. It's that wet green grass note that I think really sets this perfume apart from other violets. You definitely get that like slightly scratchy, powdery feel from this that I would normally associate with the violet flower, but it's that green leafy quality in this perfume that is so fresh and really special. And the base notes make this perfume feel like it might be kind of heavy in the dry down, but I think that those notes are there in such perfect balance to the fresh green violet that the dry down never really feels dark or weighty. It just kind of feels like settled in an earthy kind of way, I would say. It's like the violet has sort of like poked itself out of the earth for the first time in spring. I love this perfume so much, and I'm really excited to have it on the tray this week. Next up is what might actually be one of my top 5 perfumes in my entire current collection. This is Fruit de la Creativite from the House of Gres. This is the perfume that made me realize that I don't actually hate leather in perfumes. So Gres makes some of the best affordable perfumes. They smell way more expensive than they are. Like most of them are in the $20 range. So this perfume is from the discontinued Signa line, which makes me want to cry because I know there is going to come a day when I do not have this perfume in my possession anymore, and I'm going to be super distraught when that happens. So the notes in this perfume are raspberry, black saffron and bergamot, iris, rose and cedarwood, and leather, coffee, and musk in the base. And I think I've mentioned before that I love a raspberry rose combination, and this is definitely one of my favorites. This is like a pretty solidly musky, fruity floral. There's a really nice sweetness to it. It has that beautiful rose in the heart, a little bit of powderiness, and just a very light touch of leather in the base that gives it some depth. And every time I wear this, I just love the scent bubble I'm in. It's not like a huge perfume, but it's big enough to remind you all day that you're wearing a very beautiful scent. I also love this bottle so much. The shape of it, the cap, the label, and I just think this perfume is such an excellent example of like high quality everything at a spectacular price point. So I only have a teeny tiny bit left in this bottle. This is Myth from Ellis, Brooklyn. And if I'm being honest, I don't really love this perfume anymore, but I definitely want to finish this bottle up. This was one of my signature scents around 2016 when this perfume came out. I loved it so much at the time. I wore it literally every single day. I mean, who knows? Maybe after this week, it'll rekindle my love for this perfume. This is by Jerome Epinette. It is a very simple, very clean, musky floral. The notes in Myth are bergamot, black currant, and ambrette, lotus, jasmine, and tiger orchid, and then musk, white cedarwood, and patchouli. And what I get from this perfume is primarily the ambrette, the jasmine, and the musk. This is one of those like crisp white shirt perfumes. There's nothing complex about it. It's pretty linear. It's just a really nice perfume to reach for when you want to feel like clean and put together all day long. And now that I'm talking about it again, it's giving me like warm, fuzzy feels. But I don't know, the last time I wore this, there was something about it that made me feel like my Myth days were over. But like I said, since I only have a little bit of it left, I'm going to finish up this bottle. And then it'll probably just exist in my perfume world as a lovely memory of a one-time signature scent. So this is Casmir from Chopard. This is a perfume I don't really reach for very often, so I wanted to give it a little more love this week before the weather really warms up and I know I won't reach for it again for a bunch of months. And that's because this is a very, very custardy, fruity floral. I suppose you could classify this as a gourmand, but I wouldn't call it like an edible gourmand because I think there are enough floral notes in this to push it into that fleurmond territory. So the notes are coconut, peach, bergamot, and mango, geranium, jasmine, and lily of the valley, and vanilla, amber, musk, sandalwood, woods, and patchouli. So for me, this perfume is all about the dry down. All of the sweet fruitiness and the floralcy of this perfume. It's not like fleeting necessarily, but it's also not super long lasting either. Once the fruitiness and the florals mostly fade away, you're left with this very, very sweet, very custardy fruit tart of a perfume. This reminds me actually a lot of those fruit tarts you see in like really fine bakeries, the ones that have that buttery shortbread crust and the super shiny glazed fruits on top. That's exactly what this perfume reminds me of. So this will probably be one of my nighttime scents this week, and I'm really looking forward to wearing it. So in addition to violet, I have also been craving tuberose lately, so I thought I would dig into my unicorn drawer and pull out this very special bottle of the original Michael Kors perfume. So the perfume gods smiled upon me one day and they placed this perfect secondhand perfume in my lap, just when I was thinking that I would never ever have this in my collection again. This was one of my signature scents around like 2013 or so. And this perfume came out many, many years earlier in 2000, but I didn't discover it until 2013. And I am so happy to have this back in my collection. This is one of the few super loud perfumes that I still love to pieces, but I can only really tolerate like 1 or 2 sprays of this at a time. Otherwise, I'll end up with like a blistering headache. So the notes of Michael are freesia, osmanthus, tamarind, and frankincense, tuberose, lily, blue iris, calla, and white peony, and cashmere wood, musk, and vetiver. So what I get from this perfume is definitely that apricot-y peachiness from the osmanthus. It gives the perfume a beautiful sweetness that complements the tuberose and the peony so nicely. I definitely get that sweet spiciness that the tamarind note is intended to convey. And then, of course, there's that huge tuberose that I get, along with a very healthy dose of peony and then a ton of musk. And this perfume to me is like, there is nothing else like it. The closest thing I was ever able to find over the years is the 1 in a Million body mist from Bath and Body Works, but it was like a ghost of Michael Kors. It really didn't satisfy me as a close enough substitute because this is just such a special perfume. Like, I miss having that experience from the 80s when there were only a few, maybe a few hundred perfume releases a year, maybe not even that many. A new release back then was like a big deal. You didn't have like 6,000 perfume releases, literally, like we have now, 6,000 perfume releases a year. So perfume felt like something special because it was. And perfumes were like different. They were original and unique. And even if like perfumes were stylistically similar, like you had green sheeps in the 70s and big white florals in the 80s and those crisp, clean perfumes in the 90s, the perfumes themselves, they felt unique. They felt original. And this is definitely one of those perfumes, at least to me it is. I cannot imagine a time when I won't be absolutely in love with this perfume. That's how beautiful and special I think it is. So I put 2 samples on the tray this week that I hope to finish up. While we're on the topic of tuberose, I'll start with this decant of Supreme Bouquet from Le Vestiaire collection by YSL. This was created by Dominique Ropion. This is a very, very sweet tuberose, more in like the bubblegummy camp, but like not all the way there. I remember reading once that this perfume reminded someone of the original Chloe from the 1970s. And I would say that that's a pretty apt comparison. So the notes of Supreme Bouquet are tuberose absolute, ylang ylang, jasmine, amberwood, fruits, musk, patchouli, and animalic notes. But I don't get anything animalic from this at all, like not at all. This is just a very classy, very pretty, sweet floral perfume. So the tuberose absolute for me is like the center of this perfume. And I think that the kind of perfumes I love the most is when the perfumer features a single note like this and then surrounds that note with supporting characters that just make the star shine even brighter. Kind of like Madonna's backup dancers. Like, you know they're there. They're amazing. You can't help but have your eyes drawn to them from time to time. But like at the end of the day, their greatest talent is making Madonna look good. So I think in Supreme Bouquet, Madonna is like the tuberose and all of the other notes are her backup dancers. And finally, I have this sample of Amarige Mariage from Givenchy to wear and hopefully finish up this week. So the original Amarige was a humongous woody floral. It came out in 1991 and it was one of those perfumes that kind of like ushered out the perfumes of the 80s, those big florals. Amarige Mariage came out many, many years later in 2006. So even though it's technically a flanker, I don't really think it bears much of a resemblance to the original Amarige at all. Amarige Mariage is a sweet ambery style floral. There's more patchouli dominating the base. That was more in favor at the time than those like creamier woody bases of its predecessor. So the notes in this perfume are bergamot, bitter orange, cinnamon, jasmine, and magnolia, and benzoin, patchouli, and sandalwood. So I would definitely not classify this as a safe blind buy. I would sample this one first. Even though it's not very expensive, it's an affordable perfume. I think this is a perfume you have to wear a few times before you can decide if it's right for you. I've worn this a few times now and I still haven't decided if I want a bottle of this or not. So maybe this week I will figure that out. And if I don't, then I will definitely enjoy wearing this sample again because so far I have found this perfume to be very, very pretty. Okay, so there we have it. This is my perfume tray for the upcoming week. I love setting my tray. It gives me something to look forward to for the week ahead. I mean, adulting is not all it's cracked up to be sometimes, but I think perfume makes adulting a whole lot better. So I hope you have a really great week. Thank you so much for being here, for spending your time with me, and for chatting perfumes with me in the comments. I will see you in the next video. Bye.